There's a lot of different weapons they can get from this guy, and whatever happens, it's going to be exciting. The moon is crashing, apparently. Is this the right game?
I think we're a game early on that.
Well, close enough. Anyway, first chest here has nothing really useful in it, just a piece of heart, but they're about to get at least one weapon here.
I want to see Blue Cane on for our first weapon.
That's a good one. I like Cane of Burna as a weapon. It's pretty easy to use once you get how the hitbox works. Here's a cane, not the one we were expecting though.
You know what? Close enough. There are 7 possible weapons Uncle can give us. There's the sword, the hammer, red cane, blue cane, fire rod, bombs, or the bow.
Yep, and you get a full refill of whatever ammo your weapon uses, if it uses ammo. So it can be a bit hard to use, but with enough practice, you get around.
Now, since we've got the red cane, that does mean that's one less item we have to look for late game. However, it doesn't help with progression early on. So right now, it's pretty much just a weapon.
Now you see these guys just killing random enemies here. They're hoping probably for a bomb drop, especially useful in the escape part of this at the end.
Yeah, there are 3 items in the back of Escape. However, you can only get there if you have a bomb to blow open the wall, or if you have the boots to dash it down. And Chisame's taking the early lead here. Roach is killing a lot more enemies, but so far no bomb drop. At this point, we might see one in one of these 2 chests coming up.
Well, so far, no luck from both of these players. They've found a couple of rupees, and that's about it.
That arrow drop might have been nice if they got in the bow to start with.
Now, of course, depending on which weapon you get from the beginning, it does change the difficulty of the start here. As you can see, the Cane of Samaria is not an especially hard one, but still, you have limited magic, and you don't really have a reliable source to replenish it, so you gotta be careful with your shots.
And the bug net from Zelda sells, so still not a lot of value from the Escape right now. They might be stuck with that red cane for quite a while.
I mean, it's not bad per se, and you can do some pretty neat stuff with that cane if you know what you're doing. As you saw a few times already, you can push a block into enemies and to damage them, and you can also just blow the block up to make some beam in 4 different directions, so that's cool.
Oh, it's definitely a neat weapon, don't get me wrong. It's just something about having to rely on a magic bar. It's kind of a little unsettling at times.
Yeah, it's especially hard especially when you get the fire rod, as you have what 8 shots with a full magic bar. That's not a lot, and if you miss a couple of shots, you might need to restart to get that full magic back from Uncle.
Yeah, true. The fire rod, as you said, 8 shots. That's you gotta be good with those shots, but at least they're 1 shot, 1 kill.
And yeah, you can see the hearts here on Roach's screen are green. That's a new feature from this version. they added so people can choose a few different colors for their hearts to be. It's pretty neat feature. It helps with people that are colorblind. More accessibility, hurrah!
And Roach found the hit limit on that Samaria block there, running into enough of those ropes that it just gave up. So Chisame is about to get his key from this rat. One more room and he's going to need that bomb, but he still has not found one, and neither is Roach.
Now that's a bit unfortunate, but looks like Chisame is just going to move on and come back later for those items. That's what you get. It's part of the RNG, as we say.
Now, as the players went through the sewers, you notice they had a light cone. For standard, you get the light cone through the sewers, whether or not you have the lamp, and that's a hammer!
Speaking of weapons, huh?
Okay, that's a much more powerful weapon.
Yeah, first of all, it doesn't need ammo. It does have a pretty small hitbox, but it hits like a truck, or rather like a tempered sword.
Well, on those light cones, normally if you don't have a lamp, you don't get the light cone and you have to navigate in the dark. The exception for standard mode is through the sewers, you get the light cone regardless of if you have the lamp or not.
Yep, it's a small freebie just because you're forced to go into places without the lamp. So the devs were pretty lenient on us and decided we didn't need to learn all these dark caves across Hyrule Castle. Thanks.
However, that does make one small quirk in the logic that I've seen happen a few times, is the lamp can still be sitting back there in the escape, and it could be locked behind the power glove right now.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but hey, those are some flippers. It kind of, yeah, it's something. It's something. I won't say it's not progression. It's flippers, but not my favorite. But you know, might be useful later on.
Yeah, it's something I don't have to look for later.
I mean, it's no ice rod, but I guess it'll do.
Now, earlier both runners checked the ledge on that cave over by the lumberjacks. We saw it was 300 rupees, so Aghanim isn't required for the lumberjacks, but he could still be our Dark World access.
Indeed.
Oh, hey, power gloves.
Now, a bit unfortunate here since Chisame did not find any bombs in these chests, so she will have to come back into Blind's hut here to find out if what that item behind the wall is.
Now, Roach has already found 2 tiers of tree pulls. He's got the... found out that we have hearts and that we have 10 arrow drops. And we've got a sword in the well. So, stocking up on weaponry right now.
Yep, I mean, it's still progression. You still need a Master Sword to finish Seeds, so it's a very good thing to have early on. It may actually send them in a few different directions too, depending on all the other items they might find soon enough in Kakariko Village.
Now, even though Chisame has already checked Blind's Hut and the well, he's probably going to have to go back just to check those 2 items.
Yeah, especially early on like that. You don't want to leave on two early access spots open like that. You never know what's going to be hiding here. We'll see Roach attain that item first, and it's only a red rupee. So it wouldn't be a great loss, but definitely not something you want to leave open knowing that you never had and went there.
So after both of these runners check Kakariko Village, where do you think the next place is going to be?
I think it's going to be, of course, it's probably going to go a quick check in library and race game just below Kakariko. But after that, it's probably going to be the dam and mini Moldorm. That's usually the standard play here for most players.
Oh, there's a lamp off the bottle vendor.
Not a bad buy.
And Chisame does not have the money for it right now.
Uh-oh.
So depending on how well he knows dark rooms, that may or may not be a problem for him.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that much of a problem this early on, but lamp is one of those items that even if you don't really need it for the dark rooms, it's really useful for the just for using as a fire source for just opening, not opening, but using it on torches.
Yeah, getting through the basement of Tower of Hera, getting to the Land Molus and Desert Palace. So Chisame's making that South Shore play over to the dam, like you were saying earlier. But Roach is going to Sanctuary. I wonder if he's going to check those back 3 chests and escape.
That's definitely a good place to check, get it off your mind. And Chisame getting all the money right now. A bit too late for that. Could have been a bit useful in Kakariko, but hey, there's still many more chances to go in Kakariko. After all, they don't have a bottle or a flute, and that might come into play a bit later on.
Yeah, and in terms of that's a slight treasure trove back there.
Wow, that was nice.
So it's a mushroom, a master sword, and a bottle. So Roach can go back and check Sick Kid. There's also a glitch that you can do with the Cane of Samaria and the mushroom over in Kakariko. Normally you need the powder to check the item from the bat that's down in the well beside the lumberjacks. However, if you have cane and mushroom, you can bypass that. Of course, they don't have access to that yet, so... Or Chisame can just find the powder, make that a moot point.
Yep, that's usually what happens. Well, powder is also a very good safety items. Not so much early on, but as the seed progresses, these Dark World dungeons are full of anti-fairies, and that makes for easy fairies when you powder them.
And for some reason, I didn't realize they had hammer. That totally would have been relevant, too. Well, it gives Chisame a reason to go back to Kakariko. And we have a crystal-packed light world.
That's something you want to see really on, as light world dungeons tend to have a bit lower requirements than dark world dungeon, and they are easier to do.
And Chisame has a hook shot now.
Now let's see here. We have power gloves, hook shot, lamp and logic. You seeing what I'm saying?
I'm seeing Light World Death Mountain gets cleared.
Exactly. Looks like a pretty nice, pretty nice play to make here, maybe early on. But I also like that they're using their flippers to check these various small locations first.
Yeah, with early flippers, Waterfall Cave, that's 2 items, probably has something. They've got the money for Zora, or at least Chisame has. Roach is pretty close to it. And we find out Roach is going to have the money for Zora.
Barely enough.
So Chisame's probably going to go to Zora. The question is, how well does he know his dark rooms? Because he's probably going to go up to Death Mountain afterwards. With all the items up there, with all of the access, it's probably the play. Was that a book?
Yep, and also Quake. I mean, I agreed with you before the book, and I still agree with you after the book pickup too. But suddenly, Desert becomes a tiny bit interesting.
It's interesting, but there's the issue of that torch item without the boots.
Yeah, I know it's a risk because of no boots so far, but because of that lamp, I'm saying to myself, oh, Landmo is accessible, maybe, probably.
And Zora with the scam.
The usual.
Piece of Heart's and well, Heart Container more so is a nice safety, but they're racing. They want speed.
Now, at least Chisame is about to get a few more items down here, and we'll get a Master Sword, a Mushroom, and a bottle, and maybe that model is gonna push Chi back into Kakariko Village. We'll see.
Might push him there, but now he doesn't have the money for the bottle vendor.
That's true. Not quite enough, but there's a few spots, as we've seen early on, that you can get a few rupees here and there. So it's not out of the question, but looking from where Chisame is going, we're probably going, up Death Mountain.
Yeah, it's a dark room.
Or prepare to not see anything for the next 30 seconds or so. Well, we get to see pros in action here. Yeah.
Yeah, using that sword to figure out where you're going and where you're hitting walls.
Yeah, that's a really good blessing when you have a sword to be able to see sparkles of where you are. Otherwise, it's a lot more difficult. You can also use weapons such as a boomerang or a hookshot to kind of figure out where you are, but a sword is definitely the best.
That's a bow.
Oh yeah. Now we got even more access here. Now that means Eastern is also in play. Man, that's all of the dungeons, all of the Light World dungeons are currently in play. How about that?
The only Light World dungeon that's possibly not full clearable right now is Desert Palace, and that's only depending on if there's something good on that torch or not.
Yeah.
And there's a cape on top of Spectacle Rock.
Not quite accessible just yet. You'll need a mirror to access that, but I'm sure they'll find that soon enough. Don't quote me on that.
And Chisame not dying to a cabbage today. They're rocks, they're green, they kind of look like cabbages.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. Now, it's full of dangers here on Death Mountain. They don't have a lot of hearts. It's very easy to just get slammed by everything here, including dead rocks.
Yeah, dead rocks take a heart, the mini moldorms take a heart, the rocks take a heart. I think everything up here deals 1 heart of damage.
At the very least.
At least this cave gives 2 hearts. Three, 4 hearts. 4 1/4 hearts.
Yeah, that was not that much useful. I mean, a couple more hearts in the beginning ain't that bad, but no progression. Looks like G is trying his hand a second time now, trying to get this bomb jump. It's not an easy one, but there's a few setups you can do, and there it is.
Now, a great thing about that money cave is he can pay the bottle vendor now.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm gonna cross my finger that he does go for it soon enough, just because right now he's on top of Death Mountain, and we all know Tower of Hera could be required to have a fire source.
Yeah, if he doesn't find a big key in those first 2 locations in Tower of Hera, he is locked out without that lamp. And Roach will be going straight to Tower of Hera as well. He has that fire source. But first, what's on Ether?
Nothing.
Yeah, 5 arrow upgrade. Yeah, usually doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a thing that's added into the rando pool. They added these upgrade items for arrows and bombs. That, oh my, that's
a thing.
Yeah, that's a useful item.
French vanilla pearl.
Well, not exactly, but hey, close enough.
I thought we usually call vanilla in its actual location French vanilla, at least in the same dungeon. Great find, however, Chisame is now locked out of Tower of Hera.
Yep.
And Roach is going down to take a coffee break. So there's a setup where, see, lowered the blocks, set a bomb up, and now Roach is completely invincible as long as he is on top of those blocks. And he can just set his controller down for another, 15 seconds?
Forever. Seriously, tile rooms take forever in these dungeons that have them. It's a very nice break. You don't get a lot of breaks when playing rando.
Even then, you mostly use the break trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do next. Obligatory big key. Not refilling on magic.
Well, it's not that useful right now, I guess. And after all, if he does get Moldorm out of the way, he will get a full magic refill from the crystal, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, but if you're empty, that magic refill takes forever. And Chisame is going ahead and turning in that mushroom. There's still a couple of things he can do down here in the overworld. And Mushroom not paying out, just going ahead and filling up that bottle with some blue goo.
And now he doesn't have enough money again for the bottle vendor, so we will not see that lamp for another while.
Don't!
Well, it's to be expected, right? I can understand how he's currently routing this. Gonna go back only in Kakariko village until he needs to go either in the dark world behind it in the Lost Woods, or when he finds the flute.
Yeah, I guess you're right on that.
In the meanwhile, it seems like Roach is making good progress inside the tower here. Almost done. Only need to put down the worm.
And Moldorm's going to have an item. So we got Roach going to clear Tower of Hera. Chisame is going to go ahead and clear Eastern Palace. See which one pays out. I mean, they both got the pearls, so that's one payout from Hera.
Oh my.
That's okay then.
Yeah, that's a payout if I knew one. Now the mirror can not be required, but it's one of those items you really want to have. It makes things so much easier to work around.
It is a highly convenient item to have. It looks like Roach is going to go ahead and pick up that cape. That does unlock one location in Dark World. Or maybe he's not going to pick it up. He probably hasn't gone this way yet, actually.
Yeah, I think he did the bottom part and went to the right side from the beginning.
A clean skeleton room from Chisame, and Roach now has the cape. I believe that's put Spike Cave in the logic form right now. He's got cape, he's got a bottle. I think that... So, the logic expects you to have either the cape or the blue cane, and either have magic or a bottle to make it through the Spike Cave to get the item from there. Of course, you can sequence break it with enough health, but it's out of the way. No one wants to do it anyway.
Yeah, it all depends on really what you're comfortable with for Spike Cave, but I gotta say it tends to not be very useful this early on.
Until it has boots.
Until it has boots.
So Chisame making it through the dark room over in Eastern Palace, getting rewarded with a piece of heart for his trouble. Not the best reward, but still only on 8 hearts, so every little bit helps right now.
Now we're about to see a couple more dark rooms here on Chisame's side. A bit harder than the Death Mountain one, just because you have these enemies here in the dark, which you can't really see, but he's trying to... There we go. One of those has the small key, so you need to kind of place yourself so the arrows gets him and you get to pick up the small key to move forward. That was the only dark room in this dungeon, but it can be annoying to go through sometimes.
And Roach is about to check what we call Hype Cave. Got one NPC in the front and 4 more items in the back. Let's see what... That's a tempered sword. That helps. And money, 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 and heart.
Tempered was value enough.
Front-loaded Hype Cave. And Chisame has studied up on the quick kill here.
It was a flawless fight.
Only 9 arrows left. I don't think he wasted a single arrow on that, though. Now, Roach did a map check earlier, and we found out Palace of Darkness is the green pendant, Swamp Palace and Ice Palace are the other 2 pendants, and Turtle Rock is our other 5/6 crystal.
I'm not surprised. Turtle Rock is usually a required dungeon.
Even if it's a pendant, it's required.
Oh, especially if it's a pendant. I mean, this is just me talking just like that, but Turtle Rock has a lot of items in it, so it has a bit more favor to having, you know, progression in it.
Yeah, Turtle Rock has 5 items plus mirroring to Mimic Cave on the outside, so technically 6 items. And Swamp Palace has the exact same amount, so they're tied for the most item-dense dungeons in the game.
That being said, though, you got your players that usually just want to route it off as the last dungeon, as it is the closest one to Ganon's Tower. You pretty much have to be around there if you want to enter it. So they tend to put it off, but you never know with Rando when you actually need to go in a dungeon. We'll see later on as they collect a bit more items. Right now, they definitely do not have the required items to beat it, as Fire Rod and Ice Rod are both required for it.
And they still need the Titan's mitts just to open up the entrance.
Yeah, good point.
If they have the right medallion.
So yeah, lots of required items just for a single dungeon. Makes sense as it's supposed to be your last one. Well, last vanilla crystal dungeon. You get what I mean.
Close enough. So Chisame checking the magic bat. Let's see what he pays out today. Collecting those pieces of heart.
I mean, you don't really intentionally pick them up, but you get them off these locations like that, it does stack up to a few hearts over time.
About to check Sitka as well. I think Roach already checked and found out it was 20 bucks. Or I could be completely wrong and it's still the right color.
I was about to say that. I mean, it's close enough.
And there's the lamp.
Yeah, we see here Chisame is going from behind Kakariko village. Gonna have a short detour here inside of the Lost Woods, probably just gonna pass by and go straight to the Dark World.
Now, Chisame is probably not going to be getting that mirror for a while. Because he's got a lot he can check over here in the Dark World. Got Skull Woods, Village of Outcasts. Yeah, mirror's probably... Tower of Hair is probably a while away from his mind.
Yeah, right now Tower of Hair is looking very far, and there's so many more locations to check beforehand that it's gonna take a while to get that mirror. It's gonna make the routing around a bit harder, as when you don't have a mirror in the Dark World, you have to save and quit to get back to your Light World. Waste a few seconds here and there, and of course you have limited spawn points.
Now, Roach has a significantly easier time navigating the Dark Rooms in Eastern because that lamp.
There's a Bombos medallion. Now that's 2 out of 3, so there's a good chance they have what's needed already just to enter Mire or Turtle Rock.
Minus the Titans mitts.
Yeah, of course. Titans is that item that, you know, in Rando, you eventually pick them up because they're needed in all of the seeds 100% of the time. Non-Plando, I'm saying.
Yeah, because in order to get into the Dark World on Death Mountain, to get into Ganon's Tower, you have to have the mitts to make an access point.
So yeah, right now it's seeing Roach having pretty much I'd say he has a good lead on his opponent here, as he already has a dungeon done, and he's about to be done with another dungeon, Eastern, right here.
Still trying to figure out how you thread the needle on those Igors. And Roach got his Armos Knights down. Not as clean a kill, but still pretty good.
He got the job done. And Armos is gone, and a new crystal was added to his inventory.
And a new bottle was added to Chisame's inventory.
I wonder where Roach is going to go next. Ah, of course, inside Palace of Darkness, since, you know, already has the lamp, the bow, hammer. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, the mirror making it really convenient to just do 2 dungeons together. It is a pendant dungeon, but there's a lot of items in pods, so...
Starting off with Ether on the first chest here. So there's all 3 medallions for us. We know where all 3 of them are.
Well, doesn't matter what Mire and Turtle Rock require, we got them.
It's one of those things that's it helps not having on your mind constantly medallions, the ice rod, and what else you always kind of need but never know actually where it is.
Sometimes flute.
Yeah, sometimes flute, and they already have the hammer, so now really they're doing really good on the items so far. I mean, for a seed that's almost 40 minutes in, yeah, pretty good.
That being said, we still have the chance of required items on the pedestal, so could get a little derailed later on still.
Oh, definitely. There's plenty of items that can still be there. But of course, we're not wishing it on anybody. I mean, who likes pedestal seeds?
Now, since Chisame was back in Skull Woods and did check the last chest they could before needing the fire rod, I'm kind of surprised he didn't do a pedestal. Oh wait, he didn't have the mirror. He couldn't do a pedestal check while he was back there.
Yeah. I mean, he could have done it before going inside the Dark World, but that would have been slow and kind of ineffective as a routing, so yeah, he didn't do that.
This is a race. Gotta go fast.
Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta, go fast and do good plays, and that's Blue Mail.
Blue Mail on 10 hearts. He defensively, Chisame might be good for the rest of the seed now.
Yeah, he's doing good right now. When you have a full row of hearts and Blue Mail, you're pretty much set up to pretty much go through anything without too much trouble. Apart from maybe chain chomps and hugging Ganon, you're in good shape.
Yes, depending on runner skill, some players need a little more in terms of defense. Some players can go with less. Based off what we've seen right now, I think Chisame could probably handle it right now. And Roach is putting that powder to use with the anti-fairies.
Yep. Now that he's in the Dark World, these Dark World dungeons, like I said earlier, they're full of these anti-fairies. So, making great use of that powder so he doesn't bite the dirt early on.
And our obligatory blind pun of the race. And a very nice fight.
Indeed, it was a nearly perfect fight here. Only getting hit a couple of times. Blind is one of those fights that you can really do very well and study hard for it to pretty much do it the same way every time, as it is pretty much scripted.
Now, I don't think I saw him do the big chest over in Thieves Town. I'm guessing he counted his items and already had them all.
Oh man, already has a golden sword. That's some serious firepower here.
A 43-minute golden sword. Yeah, that's a thing.
It's gonna make. I was gonna just say a couple of bosses, but I'm just gonna say everything a lot easier because golden sword just does an absurd amount of damage on everything. So yeah, we're good to go for every challenge in this game right now.
Yeah, I think the only thing that does more damage than the butter sword is the silver arrows.
Yeah, of course, silvers are the best damage-wise, but just for the sake of slapping enemies around, yeah, butter sword is the way to go. Now, judging by its location, I'm thinking Roach probably will get it also. Just take a bit more time when he gets around to Thieves Town.
Yeah, it is a crystal, so he will have to get it. So we have one boss down on the left, and now Roach about to take on the Helmasaur King.
Now, Helmasaur King here is a pretty easy fight, no matter what equipment really you have, because you get to slap his mask with the hammer 17 times, and then with the tempered sword, it's what, 4 slashes, I believe?
Yep, 4 slashes and he's down. Or 1 spin and 2 slashes.
And there we go.
And Chisame over here checking Agina's cave. Probably about to head into the desert as well. I just mentioned silver arrows, didn't I?
Indeed.
So Chisame's loaded for bear right now.
And Roach can already turn in that green pendant he just got from Helmasaur. Let's see if it pays off.
So far, oh, that paid a lot.
Yeah, you can see that victory slashes. I believe that's a victory slash and not a frustration slash.
Mire is required, so that green pendant is definitely needed. I was going to say the only thing worthwhile out of pod was that ether medallion, but Sastrala had other plans.
Yeah, I'm really liking how Roach got through this seed so far. He's making all the right decision. It's he does have a pretty great lead because of all those plays right now. Now, Chisame did just find out the ice rod in the map chest of desert, so that's something nice for him. But that won't put him quite back ahead.
And also means either the small... Oh, that's Titan's mitts on the ledge, though.
Yeah. Now that helps. That helps. That's definitely better. The mitts, as chat did call out already, yeah, is making his way through Death Mountain for a second round. That's a pretty good idea.
He might end up getting that mirror, and that will... I just had a terrible idea. Fire Rod can be in Turtle Rock, can't it?
It can, because you could not need Fire Rod for a long while, depending on the key placement in there. And it's especially trolly in the first chest in Turtle Rock. I've seen that a couple of times.
And then there's, yeah, that would just be evil of the seed.
Yeah, it's definitely a very evil to have Fire Rod inside of Turtle Rock. It's one of those places you really don't expect it to be.
Now in that Desert Palace, since Chisame found the ice rod in that first chest, and that means boots are required because either the small key or the big key are on that torch. Now Roach is over here making his play into Skull Woods. Unfortunately, we know he's not going to find anything here, but it could lead into that mirror into the ped check. And Chisame doesn't have that mirror yet. He's setting up for a quick death warp off those tiles.
Yeah, he does a good job here preparing for that, making it his way shorter out of this basement a lot quicker. It's a very good strat. You'll see players do from time to time. I've seen it in Hero and a lot in Palace of Darkness too.
And no fairy in a bottle to make that death warp unpleasant.
Yeah, seen that a couple of times too. It's unfortunate, but it happens. You forget what's in your bottles. Maybe it's a bee, maybe it's a fairy. They all look the same.
And we're going to see a quick death warp here from Roach. Likely more for the health refill than the warp.
Yeah, because he does have the mirror for that. Oh, let's see if Chisame gets the bomb jump. Ooh, he gets it. That's a nice one.
It can be tricky to get sometimes, and if you miss it, you do fall down back to start.
Yeah, it's a pretty awful drop to not get. So I know a lot of players will not go for it just because of that. But man, does it feel good to get.
And carving through Moldorm like butter.
Hard fight, hard fight.
So now Chisame has that mirror, and that's going to help out.
Probably gonna get that cape here on just on top. Man, he could route in to go straight inside Spike Cave since he's right here. Oh, he's going back on the other side of Death Mountain now. What he's gonna do? Probably check what's on the Dark World, to be honest.
Yeah, you can check Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave right now. And if he wants to, he's got that Turtle Rock dip he can do.
Yeah, it all depends on what medallion is locked behind Turtle Rock. He has 2 out of 3.
Now, it might be a while until we see him. I mean, a long while until we see him go into Pendant Palace of Darkness.
Oh, RNGY. Unfortunately, it's Ether that's locking Turtle Rock, so we're not opening it right now.
That might be a blessing in disguise, because that's one less location he will be able to check for the flute.
That is true.
Roach make his way back into Kakariko, going to get his red boomerang.
Now, the only thing I'm afraid, though, because of that Ether in the first chest of Pod, is Chisame going straight into it, gets Ether, and mirrors right out after that. Now, this early on, I would not expect it, but if he decides to go into Pod a bit later on, I don't know, man.
Well, right now, in terms of items, all Chisame needs is the Fire Rod, Ether, the boots, and the flute. And he'll be able to finish the game.
Yeah, it's so close already to the end. We're only 54 minutes in. Wow.
And Roach just needs Fire Rod, Ice Rod, and the boots, but he doesn't know he needs the boots yet. So we have an old saying about Spike Cave. There's never a good time to check Spike Cave, just a less bad time.
Yeah, I believe that was the correct wording around that. Value? Question mark?
Um, better than a quiver upgrade?
Yeah, okay, well, let's go with that. I mean, it's not progression, but it is progressive. Close enough.
I see what you did there.
Now, with that newfound mirror in hand, it looks like Chisame might be looking for a swamp here. But, not sure about that. I mean, it is a pendant dungeon full of items, but swamp tends to be a little bit less favored than the Palace of Darkness or Torok as the item placements for stuff. I mean, from what I've seen players do.
Well, right now, Chisame is essentially making a 50-50 gamble. Because in terms of dungeons, all he has accessible right now is Palace of Darkness, Swamp Palace, and Ice Palace.
Yeah, from what I've seen, Ice Palace is... Nobody likes Ice Palace.
Ice Palace is a lot of work for just 3 items.
Yeah, it doesn't have much, and of course, being also a pendant dungeon in the sea, wow. I can't believe how many... You know, there's only 3 pendant dungeons per sea, and it seems that it's so often Ice Palace is a pendant. Maybe that's just me, but ugh.
Let's see, Ice Palace requires Titan's Mitts, either a Fire Rod or a Bombos plus swords. And I believe a hook shot as well, depending on logic.
Depending on logic, and of course, you probably need a hammer too to get to Cold Stare. Because those little mole fellas that you see just in Chisame's screen here, they're gonna be laughing at you if you go there without a hammer.
So actually, Pendant Ice Palace locks a lot of stuff off the pedestal. Depending on what the seed wants you to do in there, because there's a few different configurations it can throw at you for it, in terms of what you need to clear it.
Oh yeah, and of course, flippers also needed, kind of.
Roach is in his blind fight.
Now, blind is an interesting fight by all means, especially when you have something like a gold sword going in, because no matter what weapon you really hit him with, it's gonna take 9 hits. Doesn't matter how strong it is.
And those fireballs do 1 hit of damage no matter what your armor is. The only difference your armor makes is how much damage collision with blind does. So Chisame has not checked left side swamp. We'll see if he'll probably come back in after beating Argus if he doesn't have all 6 items out of here.
Yeah, considering, yeah, I think I like this read of logic like that, because if he gets all the items, well, he doesn't need to check the left side, and if the items are on left side and he needs to go back in, well, mirroring and getting out afterwards takes a bit less time, I believe, than doing left side first and then going to the back of the dungeon, just because of that big chest.
Yeah, and speaking of that big chest, he still doesn't have the big key to check it yet, and that could be on Argus.
Could also be completely wrong, and Chisame just gets out of the dungeon and doesn't come back. But I wouldn't think about it, just because he's still missing quite a few items.
If you're dipping a pendant dungeon anyway, you might as well just go for it. Now, last puffball not wanting to cooperate.
And a nice silver quick kill here.
Only a compass, so we know the big key is on the left side. I don't know if there's any items left in the dungeon, though. Of course, with this logic, that big key could also be in the big key chest itself, because yeah, for this version, a key can be inside of its chest if, yeah, there's nothing that can be there.
Yeah, happens now a few times here and there, and now we're seeing both players kind of converge on the same item location. It's kind of funny. Having a quick high five through the worlds.
Now, Roach doesn't have Titan's mitts yet, and he has to go through the front of desert to get them.
Yep, it is required by logic, seeing as the Titans are up on the ledge in desert. So, I mean, he's pretty much at that point that without those mitts, he's kind of locked across the place, bearing, of course, a few overworld locations here and there. Roach finds his silvers and decides to go away, which is not that bad. He can just flute back into desert.
So, between both of our runners here, neither one of them's been to Ice Palace. Roach could check when Roach gets his Titan's mitts, which are right there. He can check Misery Mire.
Yeah, and considering that he has all 3 medallions, yeah, he's probably gonna, complete Mire right off the bat.
Oh yeah, it's full clearable for him right now. And he can also dip Turtle Rock afterwards if he wants to. And Chisame checking at Peg Cave, and no thanks to the bottle of red goo.
Yeah, with the find here of his ice rod inside Desert Palace, it's he must be probably thinking to himself, maybe Turtle Rock without Fire Rod is not that bad of a play. Or maybe he'd decide to look in more overall location. We'll see shortly where he decides to go. Of course, he could still go to Ice Palace too. As we said, it's gonna be in logic.
And what?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that, right? He walked right over the gloves a couple of times.
Yeah, some funky things were happening there, but I'm gonna blame it on... I can't blame it on Bird. Bird is cool. I don't know. Something happened, but it didn't change anything.
He still got it. I'm guessing since the vulture didn't fly away at first, it might have caused... Oh, no, I think I've grabbed items before with that vulture on there, so... Good question.
Anyway, looks like we're getting a pedestal check right here on Chisame's screen.
And ped check bombs.
Rip into pieces. Dream of pedestal.
So we're still looking for the boots and that fire rod.
Man, this is looking more and more into a Ice Palace play, looking from it. Because let's be honest here, when's the last time Meyer had anything? It's that one dungeon that has like a million chests in it and never has anything in it.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, remember that one time where we all got the bow on Vitreous? That was fun, right?
Yep.
Roach makes across the gap here with a quick hook shot as he... That's another kind of requirements for Meyer. You need either the hook shot or the boots to get across that gap. It's one you tend to kind of forget about as you're reminded quickly into a dungeon. Just like flippers when you're trying to go into swamp.
Yeah, the moment you jump into the water and you get sent back to land. And Chisame not quite reaching the wall there. And nothing on the graveyard ledge, and Roach checking the first chest of Misery Meyer, and it would be great if he was go-moding, if he just needed to go straight to the boss.
Yeah, that's an early big key right there. It's interesting placement for it. Makes the dungeon a bit easier to traverse, and he gets rewarded with a cane of burner here. Not quite useful anymore.
Yeah, there's one more item in the dungeon you can try to find. And Chisame looks like lost the purple chest, was not able to grab it before hitting the portal, and if he wants to do that, he's going to have to go back for it.
It's a bit of a misplay, but it happens. It's a bit... that's why you have to be careful with your portal placement across the place. It's very easy to lose that purple chest, a lot more than the dwarf.
And we got boots on Roach's side.
About time. We finally fast now.
Oh, and the placement of those boots is actually pretty amazing.
I know, right into Meyer. He'll be over with Meyer, and then he'll be perfectly at the right place to complete Desert. It's like this siege just wants to be completed as over as possible.
And yet, still no fire rod.
Okay, I think that this is about time we start calling where is the fire rod, because y'all know that by this time it is the go mode item. So where is it? Pick your guess.
We know it can't be at the Pyramid Fairy because Turtle Rock is our other 5/6 crystal. And Roach, I guess he needed to grab another small key for routing to that right side to get over to Vitreous. There is an alternate route, though, that doesn't use a key at all, or doesn't use a small key.
Yeah, if you go through the left side completely and go through the big key doors to reach this room right here. Using the warps, you can get over here without using a small key, so that makes the trip across a bit easier when you're missing a small key, which is not the case most of the time, just because of how many small keys placement there is in Meyer.
And Chisame is making the play on pod. He's going to have a bit of time to make up because Roach has had that flute for a while, and Roach has had boots for a bit too.
Now let's just hope that Chisame doesn't turn around after Ether and goes straight into Turtle Rock. This is one of the times why I really don't want to be right. Or wrong, or... You know what I meant.
There's the Ether. That's the mirror just get back to the front, and he is going through pod, so this is a good sign. And Roach, with those silver arrows, Vitreous is going down in a matter of seconds.
And Roach just beaten... he just beaten Vitreous quite easily with those silvers. And you see there the power silvers, they pretty much one-hit kill everything in this game except Vitreous and Ganon. These two are... they have a lot of health.
So Roach, now he's got the boots, looks like his next play is Desert.
Yeah, it's always fun to see how they can route a couple of dungeons like these, like Mire, then Desert, and the Pod and Eastern too, one after another. They make for really, really good routing. It's really... how can I say it? I'm missing words here. Help me out, man.
It is really fun to see two dungeons essentially conjoined into one.
Exactly. It's it feels so satisfying to just get them over right one after another. Especially when the seed gives you the opportunity to like do all four of them like this.
Roach, where are you going? So Roach found the big key on the right side, mirrored, and left. I don't think he got a second item yet. So he's still got that big key chest.
Yeah, and it's okay. I think I like this better, as with Desert it has 2 items in it. He's found 1. Now that big key chest has an item or the map, I believe, in it. So he knows he needs to kill Lanmo here. So by going this way first, if Lanmo has the item, he save a bit of time. But if the item is actually in the big chest, well, you didn't really lose time anyway, since you need to go there anyway. I think it's an interesting play.
Now that Butter Sword, 2 slashes on Lambo, and they're going to go down. And not quite getting that second hit on the last Lambo. There's an item. It's not what he wants, but there's an item.
Yep. And he just saved himself a trip to that big key chest. That big chest. So now we're left with only 2 dungeons. Skull Woods, which is kind of off limits without the Fire Rod at this point, and Turtle Rock, that will need Fire Rod further in. And he's making a play for Turtle Rock. It looks like he's following your advice from earlier. Going inside of it without the fire rod is it's a play, I'll say.
Yeah, his current options would have been Swamp Palace, Ice Palace, or Turtle Rock. We know from Chisame that the Swamp Palace play would come up with nothing. Of course, Roach doesn't know that because they can't view each other's stream.
Still, I don't know if I would have gotten inside Turtle Rock instead of Ice Palace, considering how long Turtle Rock is going right up to the end of Laser Bridge there and just being blocked and have to go through the dungeon all over again. But yeah, I understand his play because right now he's playing to finish this seed in the next like 15 minutes. He wants to be done with this. So he's betting on Turtle Rock having the fire rod, or at least along the way.
Yeah, if Turtle Rock has a fire rod, he's in go mode. Plus, with all these extra checks, yeah, item density up here is amazing for him. Now, there is one thing about Swamp, though. We still haven't had a left side check.
That's right. I think chat has mentioned that a couple of times that might still be missing one item from Swamp. So there may be a possibility that it's there, but yeah, let's just hope it's not there for both these runners' sake. Chisame is making the right play of turning in that pendant right here. Is going to be rewarded with a flute.
And not even any rage slashes.
Oh, I think maybe he does feel a bit behind from finding a flute like that behind a green pendant Palace of Darkness is not a lot of fun. But hey, you're in a race. You don't have a lot of time sometimes to do some rage slashes like that. Gotta respect that. Now, of course, Roach did skip part of the dungeon right here because he is locked on the left side of this first floor.
And that's go mode. Roach has everything he needs to finish this seed now.
Let's go mode. And I really like his play of getting out of the dungeon here and going back in.
I think he was just restocking magic. He's going to go ahead and do that right side.
Yeah, you still need a big key to progress through this dungeon, and the chances is that it's on this side.
Oh, he still needs a small key. He got key blocked in that chain chomp room.
That's very true. I did not see that. Man, fire rod inside Turtle Rock. What a troll.
And he got the big key and the small key in the roller room on that right side.
You know, it's funny here. I almost thought that he would have gotten outside the dungeon and go finish Skull Woods and then come back to Turtle Rock to finish it. Would have been a great routing opportunity. Just get rid of that dungeon down there, since he will need to come back on top of Turtle Rock anyway.
time-wise, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of difference there, though, considering he's already at Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it's just a minor thing, so it probably isn't worth it anyway.
And Chisame going to go ahead and open up Misery Mire. Still not in go mode, so he's going to have to clear it, and we know he needs to clear it for the boots anyways. And Roach with the triple fairy.
Showing them who's boss.
And with the blue mail, a gold sword, and silver arrows, he's going to take that key and run.
Indeed. At this point, really, he just needed a couple more keys to reach the end of it, and then he'll be done with this dungeon very quickly. Since he is in go mode, might need to still pick up that magic. You know, Triax is one of those bosses where you need both the rods to damage the heads, or rather stun them so you can attack them with your preferred weapon of choice.
He's still going to have to go to... Roach is still going to have to go to Laser Bridge, though, because he still needs one more small key to finish the dungeon.
Yep, that final door here, just before going through that block maze, you'll need to unlock that door, and the key is most likely inside of that. And I believe he just took the wrong passage through this. It happens, even to the best of us. And Chisame gets his boots.
And he's taking that second route to use the big key door and not need to grab another small key in Mire.
It looks like Roach is still taking up that small safety here, not having a lot of good equipment for Laser Bridge.
Yeah, he only has what's left of his magic bar to work with.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky to go through these lasers.
Yeah, those lasers still deal 2 hearts of damage, and the fall will deal 1 heart. And out of magic, he's got to do this the hard way now.
With one more chest up.
Chat's pointing out, he didn't open the big chest, and it did not come back to bite him this time.
Yeah, you got lucky. There was a small key in there, but yeah, as you said, if the small key would have been in that big chest, yeah, it would have wasted a bit of time going all the way back there.
And Chisame going through to Vitreous. Getting tagged by an eyeball. He might see some lightning here. Now, one interesting thing to know about Vitreous is once you've killed all the eyes, the moment he pops up from that goo, you can still hit him with an arrow. He doesn't have to come completely out in order to land a shot on him. And Roach is on his Trinex fight. That gold sword, probably not going to have to worry about magic, but his health is running low. and takes a death to Trinex.
Now, Trinex is not an easy an easy boss by all means. He does hit quite hard, so you still need to be a bit careful and dodge his attacks here and there.
Yeah, the heads of Trinex do, I believe, 2 hearts of damage to Blue Mail. So he is no joke. And Chisame is jetting through desert right now. Only 1 dungeon behind at this point, as long as he doesn't go into Ice Palace looking for that fire rod.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it was pretty much a play to go inside Turtle Rock for that fire rod, considering you're often locked up early on without it, and you can't beat the boss without it too. So yeah, let's hope he makes the same assumption as Roach did, so he makes his way through Death Mountain quite fast. Roach dealt the final blow to Triax and will now get another crystal under his belt. Now, the only thing that's needed is to get rid of that pesky moth in those woods, and he'll be right up, ready to go pick a fight with a pig.
I will say that prize from Trinex, considering all the explosions when he dies, fairly appropriate. There is 1 10 bomb pack in the game, and he had it.
Yep, especially added in this latest version 29, because bombs can be your preferred weapon of choice from Uncle early on. It's yeah, it's interesting getting bombs there, but you'll get to see it across this tournament with I don't know, how many races are there per week?
256 races per week.
For how long?
7 weeks.
Yeah, you'll get your chance to see it happen one way or another.
And that's before we count bracket stage.
So yeah, this tournament, it takes a lot of organization from our mod team and admins and everyone really involved in this, so shout outs to them.
And Chisame, that was an extremely clean 0 cycle Landmo fight. This is how Chisame makes up time. Question is, does he have enough time to make it up to Roach before facing Ganon?
Man, it's gonna be a tough, long road before him to try to catch up Roach at this point. I mean, Turtle Rock itself is a very long dungeon to go through, even if you're in go mode, which he is not right now since he's still missing that fire rod.
He went to Sank, so he's not thinking Turtle Rock yet. Did Roach get grabbed?
Yes.
Oh no!
Man, don't you just hate it when it happens? You're like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm in the hole. You can't get me. And the hell just doesn't care. It's one of those worst feeling ever, just because you don't really know where your opponent is in this race until somebody finishes. So all these small mistakes like that, it kind of probably irritates Roach a lot.
Oh, And to answer a question in chat here, it is the top 116 out of the 7 weeks of Swiss rounds that'll make it into the bracket stage, along with the top 8 of the fall main tournament and the top 4 of the fall secondary tournament. And that comes out to a 5-2 or better record.
Ah, yes, 7 weeks. Where you'll have plenty of rando to watch for a long time now. Now, Chisame is making his way through towards Turtle Rock. Well, he will find his fire rod quite quickly.
And Roach is making his way up to Ganon's tower. Hey, Dynasty, don't we have a little game we usually play?
Oh yeah, that's right. We do play that game in this mode. I completely forgot about it because of Key Sanity tournament. Now, of course, we always try to, find out where's the big key in Ganon's tower. So we do a small little game where kind of want to guess where it is. It's between 1 and 23.
That was 1 in 22.
Ah. See? It's been a while.
But yes, there are 22 possible locations where that big key can be in. Make your guess on the number, or if you know or if you have an idea what specific location, go ahead and put it in chat. Unfortunately, the bot's not working, so we can't record your scores. Sorry, people.
It doesn't change that. You can still try to guess anyway. I'm gonna go with my usual prediction and say 2.
I'm gonna say vanilla.
It's a hard sell, but it's a valid one.
Ice Armors, you don't see Ice Armors a lot. Let's see them for once.
It's gonna be a pretty cool fight down there with silvers in hand. And 2 chests in, and only a bunch of garbage so far, but usually happens in Ganon's tower.
Not even a key to go to right side. And there goes the torch item. Now check numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if I remember from Key Sanity, there are 4 small keys that can be that can come in chests from Ganon's tower. Roach has already found 3 of them.
And there's your 4th.
Yeah, make that all 4.
Now, I don't know if he's gonna get the small key in this room here that's under a pot. I mean, it's probably not needed, but why tempt fate while it's right here?
Now, Chisame went with that plan that you mentioned earlier and bailed out of Turtle Rock. So Moth is down, and Chisame gets to make one final climb up Death Mountain into Turtle Rock.
Roach makes it into random room, finds a lot of explosive. A nice heart refill and more cash. There goes all of Ganon's treasures.
You know that vanilla big key prediction's starting to look better and better.
Sure does, man. Now, it's looking toward that. There's only one more chest before Ice Armos, and it's this chest right here. It's a bit annoying with the anti-fairy in the way.
Now, Armos Knights on ice, this is where you're glad you have silvers.
And boots.
And boots. And not vanilla.
Oh, so now this is coming to the point where the last few chests here on the right side and tile room are the only ones left. Do you think he's gonna skip tile room to go towards the fourth chest in the back?
You always skip tile room, don't you?
With Cape.
You go 4-1 on this.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. Because if you have to do it, your opponent has to do it too, and he's probably doing the same kind of route you're doing, so you're not losing time. YOLO.
Now, Roach has run out of magic, so he's going to have to use bombs to get through this room. Usual strategy is use the red cane. Oh no! Roach getting knocked back into the teleporter.
That did not just happen. Oh, wow.
And not only that, he's out of magic. He can't even... I think there's a magic drop in this room. For his sake, I hope there is.
There is one in the room with the torches, but yeah. At least he added blue potion, so that's good. Man.
Thank goodness for blue potions. That could have been a lot of time for Chisame to catch up, because that could have been a flute to the potion shop if he didn't have the blues already.
Man, that's...
And mushroom sprayed on Chisame's side.
That's a nice one.
Oh, and it was in the same room, too.
Man, what a stroke of bad luck on his part to get bumped right into the teleporter like that. But hey, he made it through. He's going up Ganon's tower and through the gauntlet. Shouldn't have too much trouble. Silvers and butter sword is, yeah, he's very well equipped.
And in the big chest of Turtle Rock, we had another shield.
I think this room right here is the worst one for the gauntlet. Just with the mimics and the BMOs shooting everything, it's hard to go fast in this one.
Oh yeah, if you have Mirror Shield, at least you get to block the mimics' fireballs. So that's one thing Chisame is going to have. With Roach going up the gauntlet, It's pretty much his race to lose. However, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, we never count the eggs before they hatch, I believe the expression is. But yeah, it does happen sometimes that you get a really, really bad stroke of luck going up these rooms with all these ice floors, BMOs, and all these enemies in your way. It only takes one attack that goes in the wrong direction and you're suddenly at the base of Ganon's tower, losing a lot more time than you expected.
Oh, I've even seen where someone killed Ganon and the bridge didn't form and they fell down.
Oh, that's just the worst.
And Roach, and I'm going for the silver strats on the land mode. Just 2 swipes and each land mode's down. And Chisame watching some fireworks over here.
And that was a quick kill on Trihex.
If Chisame plunders the key from left side and decides to go right, that's going to be a lot of time saved.
It's definitely going to be a nice time save. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, but it may come down to a Ganon fight at this, depending on how Roach performs up in Ganon's tower here.
Roach just missed the fire rod shot. This room might cause him some more problems, and he only has 2 bottles, so he is out of safeties.
Yeah, now he needs to wait for the torches to reset because he's wasting a bit more time.
And Chisame starting with the traditional right side 2 chests. Roach getting through the first torch puzzle.
He's pretty much done with all the hard stuff in Ganon's tower. He only needs to go through the second Moldorm here, which with the golden sword will pretty much be a 2-hit wonder.
And there are some safeties for Roach.
That's a great idea. Now, he is only on blue mail, and you do not underestimate Ganon. Ganon hugs do hurt a lot.
So it looks like Chisame's committed to full left side. And Roach taking Moldorm's last possessions.
Yeah, probably hoping to have a
Red mail.
red mail or half magic.
Half magic might be nice.
Like, considering he used both his blue potions, might be an extra safety towards the Ganon fight with the torch glitch.
Now these Aghanim teleports are not being friendly. Now both runners will have the same teleport RNG. Doesn't mean it's any less ugly. Except that one. That one's pretty nice.
Yep, when they stack up on each other, that's time to rack into all the balls.
And now that Roach has climbed Ganon's tower and taken down Aghanim, It's time to go down and face the big pig.
Always impressed at what everything Ganon knows.
I know, right?
He's learning.
And yet he still hasn't learned any new tricks.
And now Roach is already in the third phase for Ganon. You see how fast these first two phases goes with the nice butter sword.
First two phases, 6 hits apiece. Third phase, another 4 hits. And the final phase, 4 silver arrows. Assuming you have silver arrows, which they do this time. And the torches go out one at a time, but if you light the first torch before the second one goes out for the first time, then yeah, the bright torch just stays lit permanently.
Saves up quite a bit of magic over a fight if you only have regular magic.
And down goes Ganon.
Looks like Roach will be our winner for this tonight and this race.
And get your GGs in, because Roach is your winner for this Week 1 match.
Yep, he advances to the next Swiss round with a win under his belt. Now, there's still a lot more to go through to get through this Swiss, but with that first week win, it must feel pretty nice.
Yeah, there is no elimination until week 7, when everyone with more than 2 losses will not make it to bracket stage unless the people dropped. Yeah, honestly, I think what hurt Chisame was just that play in the Swamp Palace that didn't pay.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but as we said a bit earlier, it's you got to make your choices when it comes to where the items are, and yeah, that's rando. You never know where that last couple of items can be, and fortunately, it didn't pay off for him. But I mean, I think one of the things that really helped Roach was this the lamp early on. It made quite a bit of difference over the routing, and especially over in Tower of Hero. Chisame had to go back a bit later on inside to get his mirror, and a bit devolved a bit from that. But you really never know in these seas, so I'm gonna say Chisame still put up a very good fight. He's aiming here for still a sub-2 seed, which is nothing to scoff at.
So, speaking of Roach, what do you say we bring him in here for an interview? Hey, congratulations! And we cannot hear you.
In the meanwhile, it looks like Chisame is making his way through Ganon's tower pretty fast here in the last few rooms, getting through this last puzzle with a torch.
Yeah, he's still probably going to finish within 10 minutes of Roach.
Indeed, I think that's a nice goal for most people to try and finish your seed when your opponent try to finish your seed. If your opponent just finished and you're in Ganon's tower, you're doing pretty good. Like you're not that far behind.
That was a triple. I heard that one. And Chisame has almost got the 3 cycle there.
Yeah, overall that was a pretty nice fight. And off she goes into the pyramid to fight Ganon. Now it's gonna be an even pretty much a given fight here with Buttersword and Red Mal. Let's bring it on.
And apparently Roach is having some mic issues, so do I do a chat interview? Well, probably once Chisame finishes up, because this is going to be pretty quick, probably.
Yeah, already in third phase here. Only 2 more hits.
And of course, once you hit the final phase, Ganon gives you a hint where the arrows are. Usually not very helpful, though. Unless it's in a dungeon.
That was a pretty nice fight.
The double and the pig goes down.
Can you guys hear me now?
Well, hello there.
And we got a Roach.
Alright, it's fixed. Yay.
Just in time, as Chisame now finishes also. GG,
Meow,
guys.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow, meow, meow.
Wow, that was rough.
Yeah, good game, Roach. You made some pretty nice decisions through the seed. Paid off a lot. I mean, talk about that pod play.
Well, that was a huge gamble. I knew Chisame was a little bit of a better player than I am. Mind you, I played horribly this seed. My execution was terrible. That's all I have to say on that. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm heading over to Eastern anyway. It's full clearable. Plat has 7 items with the green pendant, or 6 items with the green pendant. I can't remember. I was like, let's just do it and pray it pays off.
Yeah, it had Ether medallion, which was required, and also the flute as as your pendant.
So I was
So
like, Ether, I'm like, alright, this is right in the beginning, but nothing special. Don't even know if it's required yet. Then when I finally turned in that green pendant and saw that, I'm like, thank you!
If you want to see bad routing choices, you've come to the right place.
Man, it wasn't that bad. You still finished the seed barely minutes after your opponent.
As soon as I saw Lamp on Bottle Vendor, I knew it was bad.
Yeah, it was that thing put you off a bit in the beginning, and those 3 rupees you were missing in Kakariko, we were just when we saw that it was a lamp that Roach got, and you just couldn't afford it at that time. It did put a bit of time between you two.
Yeah, I don't think I ever caught up after I bailed on going to Pod. I almost full cleared Swamp, thinking something was in there.
Early pod and just taking the gamble to go on a Turtle Rock as well was huge payoffs for me.
When I went up, I didn't have either, so I had Bombos and Quake, but I was like, well, I can't do anything.
I said all I was missing at that point was Fire Rod for go mode. I'm like, well, let's just pray and hope it's in here. If not, whatever.
Yeah, that was my mindset. All I had left was Left Side Swamp and Ice Palace, and I was like, well, I'm so far behind anyways, I may as well do this.
My overall execution was terrible. This particular race between us literally came down to luck. My execution was horrible. I will admit that.
Oh, don't worry. If you look at the restream, mine was awful too. You should have seen my climb.
Right side Ganon Tower. That's all I'm saying right now.
Yeah. If only there was a key. I know many Dark Magician strats, but there was no key.
So any questions for us?
I gotta say, before I ask questions, that your routing overall, Roach, was fantastic through the seed. I was just talking about it all across the seed, how, being able to do Eastern and then Pod, and then you go into Mire later on, and you get to do Desert right after it because you find the boots right there. It just made for such a fantastic seed to go through. I mean, the seed gave you like this weird pattern where you get to do these dungeons quickly one after another, so it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, that it definitely is. It's always nice, just like, ooh, dungeon, hey, another dungeon.
So, what did you all think about Samaria Escape?
It's actually my first time doing it.
I do not like Samaria Escape at all. My favorites are bombs. Anytime I see bombs, I'm happy.
Bow, number 1.
I agree with that.
You can just go straight to Eastern and full clear it either way, because Darkroom 0 are easy enough.
But bombs, you can clear back of Escape without farming anything and full cac.
Speaking of back of Escape, both of you kind of had to go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I got the gloves, I immediately went back. And when I saw the bottle in there, I'm like, crap, I gotta make another trip to Kakariko, and I put that off for so long.
I'm glad there was a bottle there. It eventually got me back to Lamp.
That works for you. I actually just realized I forgot to check Mushroom. That was such an easy check since I flute so early.
I think it was $20.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fortunate for you to not check it, but yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of wonder, okay, he's skipping it, I guess it's a thing.
I was like, it's a 10-second check. I may as well do this. Oh wait, I don't have flute. This is awful.
I legit just forgot about it. I'm just like checking my tracker right now to see what item location I left. I'm like, I missed that. Which I was actually thinking of checking Spike Cave right when I got the cape, but I just like my mind was set on Spiral Cave, which it ended up not mattering either way.
Spike was 300, I think. I cleared almost everything.
I think
we're
Spike
about
was red mail.
Oh, we're on red mail. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we're about to see the difference at the end on how much more.
Yeah, I'm getting there. How many did you finish with?
156.
Sounds like a nice number. I'm sort of afraid.
Yeah, overall, yeah, you guys had I think it was a pretty nice seat to go through. It didn't require a lot of super big gambles per se, except, pod, but often from not, I've seen pod pay off more than swap, I think.
Yeah, the early bow indicated that either Eastern or Pod had it. I should have doubled back once Eastern didn't have much.
So that's why I view it as like, I'm never going to be back to this area. I don't plan to anytime soon. Might as well just do it now and get the gamble done with.
Yeah, I gambled Swamp instead. That was an absolute bust.
It was actually the first thing I did in Dark World. I went Hype Cave, Pyramid, then Eastern Pod.
So yeah, this was the first match in the first week. And Roach, you have a win under your belt now. How does that make you feel?
Scared a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, I can understand that. With so many people in this tournament, we're bound to run into some very good challengers all across these weeks. So it's a pretty tough sell to go through each and every week. And of course, getting a win means you're going to likely face somebody of equal caliber too that also won his or her first week of rando.
Yeah, it's just my overall goal in this tournament is to beat my record from last one, which was 2-3. Now the difference is with my 3 losses was less than 5 minutes total between the 3 losses. One was by 2 seconds.
Oh man.
Wow.
So it's like less than 5 minutes total between all 3 of my losses. So it's like I want to prove myself this time around. I want to try and at least get to the bracket round.
Now, you say it last tournament. We've had a couple tournaments lately.
The open tournament.
The open one.
Yeah.
Did you make it into the main secondary?
Because I joined last minute, basically. It was like the last day you could.
And then Chisame, I believe this is your first tournament, isn't it?
Yep.
So how do you like racing one-on-one?
Much different. You can't do standard routings, that's for sure. Guess, I mean, it came down to the pod versus swamp gamble, and I mean, with how B29 has been treating us lately, it's been left side swamp from what I've seen. So many seeds are determined on how soon you dip swamp, pendant swamp for that matter. Oof.
I was actually prepared to do swamp when I accessed the Dark World and I saw it was a pendant. I'm like, never mind. Skip over it.
I've been burnt by pendant swamp too many times to skip it, and it burned me when it's still pendant. So oof.
Pendant swamp and Ice Palace pendant are 2 that I will always risk to not go in unless I have pretty much no other choice. That's just one of those things I preset in the back of my mind. Just like, if I lose a race due to it, I lose a race due to it, and I can't be upset about it.
Yeah.
Well,
No, go first.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm still trying to figure out V29 logic. I had V28 down, but I think I have 30, 40 seeds or so far, and I still don't get this logic.
Yeah, it takes a while to get through the logic of these new versions, as they do change a couple of small tweaks to the logic each time, fixing soft locks and things like those. Now, I'm going to say again, congratulations, Roach, for this first win. And it's not over yet for you, Chisame, as only one loss so far will not get you disqualified just yet because you still have a chance if you still have a lot of wins under your belt.
Of course, there's still more chances, right? There's still another 6 rounds. I just have to go at least to what, 5 and 2? I think that's what it comes down to.
I believe
Yep.
so.
All right, we can both make it. I'll see you. I'll see you in the tournament then, Roach.
First round brackets, we'll get our rematch.
Yeah, we'll. Oh no, we can save each other for the finals. We're fine.
I honestly don't. I don't know how to train myself to make it to the finals.
Oh, you heard it here, Chisame Roach. Fine. Wait a minute.
Well, it's nice to have some good dreams. But seriously, though, you guys gave us quite a nice match tonight.
So thank you for the race. I'll be heading off. I actually have to get to sleep. I got a job interview at 7 a.m.
Oh, well, good luck with that,
Good
man.
luck.
Thank you. Hopefully, good. It's much needed.
Well, rest well.
4 months now. I need it.
Hey, let's hope some of your rando luck rubs off on your job interview and you get that job.
Thank you. Anyway, it's a good night. Thank you, Chisame, for the race, and thank you, the tracker, Restreamer, and you guys commentating as well.
GG's, Roach. See you next time.
GG's to our runners. And please, if you like what you saw today, you like this race, please be sure to give them a follow and see how they're doing throughout all of this 7 weeks and forward of races.
Indeed, we have plenty more matches. It's going to start maybe a bit slowly as we are still in the first day that we just got all the matchups between the players, but it's going to pick up real soon across all the days this week. Right now, I believe there is still some races going on other speed gaming channels, so check around.
Yeah, we had 3 races that started an hour ago. Over on Speed Gaming, we've got Adriandak Rick versus Katatana or Katatana, something like that. I probably butchered it. On Speed Gaming 3, we have Jex Refi versus JJ Blue. And on ALTTP Randomizer 3, we have Spleeby versus Fricker22. And then starting in 1 minute, over on ALTTP Randomizer, we have Miria Chan versus Cursed Aether.
So we got plenty of more rando for you tonight, and across the week it's just going to be a rando fest looking at the schedule here on Speed Gaming. So if you're looking to find out your favorite racers or just some new matchup within these 512 racers, well, you're going to have your fill of it. And with that, I'm Dynasty Zero, and I love commentating for you guys, and I'll see you next time.
I've been Dark Shadows. Tracking for us, we've had Kara Plays Base. Thank you all for watching. It has been a great race, and we will see you all next time.